Lane Kidd is our next guest, by the way, on Nemo Nation. He is the managing director of the Trucking Alliance. By the way, you can find them at truckingalliance.org, on the Book of Face at The Trucking Alliance, on the X, formerly known as the Twitter, at Truck Alliance, and on LinkedIn at the-trucking-alliance. Hey, man, good morning to you, Lane. Welcome to Nemo Nation. Oh, we don't have him on? We don't have him on?
Oh, we thought we had Lane.
We thought we had Lane. Okay. So we have a few moments here, so you might want to give us a call, guys, at 615-292-6366. Jump into the conversation, be a part of it. We got enough time. Dave's got a few things he wants to add.
Well, I was going to kind of run through, because we didn't get a chance to kind of crunch any numbers with Dave Hiller, who was just on with us. The GBUF, the gallons-based user fee, it would add a $250 fee per year to register your electric vehicle. Some states are already doing that, as Dave said. And then if you had a hybrid, then your registration fee would be $100 a year. Overall, for your gasoline purchases, your family, the general family rate would be about $236 a year. Per vehicle, it would run about $125 per year if you're buying gasoline. So that would be the payout to get the payoff of what the gallons-based user fee would do. The payoff in terms of the excise tax would mean that more older trucks would be off the road, so they would be replaced with new trucks that have all of the ADAS, the advanced driver assist technology systems, and then it would also have it would be cleaner in terms of the environment. So there would be a double win there, and everybody would be happy.
Yeah, it's an ongoing problem, and you know, I normally say changing the name of something from one thing to another. People say, yeah, well, it's still a tax. We've talked about this, and by the way, the only argument, I've only gotten into two arguments on this, doing this job, two arguments with guests doing this job. One was a guy from Reason Magazine who was trying to explain to me how toll roads were the most efficient way to do business in regards to taking care of the federal infrastructure. It's a libertarian think tank. I totally understood where they were coming from. And I'm like, there's no evidence. It goes back to our Howard Yaris. It's like, I understand what you're saying. Those facts aren't right. There's simply no facts to back that up. The other thing that constantly kind of plays itself through is we'll get to that in a second. Sorry, guys. Lane Kidd is actually joining us, by the way. We got Lane on in the conversation. Truckingalliance.org. Hey, Lane. He's the managing director of the Trucking Alliance. What's going on, brother?
I'm doing all right. It's a nice Monday morning.
Fantastic. It's great to have you. This is Dave. That was Jimmy Mack, Lane, and it's great to have you with us. One of the things I kind of wanted to zero in on is something that you put out there, the Trucking Alliance did, that I was really surprised about, and I was wondering if the surprise meter is going off the scale here. In terms of about 84% of companies involved in serious crashes over the 2-year period of 23 and 2024 have no DOT safety rating. And my question for you is, well, can you kind of unravel that a bit? Tell us how we got into this situation and how or if we can get out. Was that number, I mean, how surprised, am I the only one that was really stunned by that number?
I hope not, because it stunned me. We actually had filed a Freedom of Information request with FMCSA a few months ago, and had simply asked them, for this data, how many reportable crashes were there in 23 and 24, and then of those reportable crashes, how many motor carriers had a federal safety rating, and how many didn't. And when those facts came back, and we looked, and we had to double look, and I had to double check with FMCSA to make sure that I was reading the chart right, they confirmed it. It's actually 84.01%, so I guess I could say almost 85%. That's pretty close.
Yeah. It's like Lysol, 99.9%. That little .1er hits a tough little sucker.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That was the one that always gets us.
He's the one that gets you, yeah. So, what are we going to do about this?
Well, you know,
did FMCSA even realize that? You know how you can live with something and not really realize what the deal is? Do you think they even realize the problem here?
you know, it's hard to tell in an email, and that's the way they communicated it to me by simply attaching the chart. So who knows? But you know, he recently retired. Tom Keene was the head of research and development at FMCSA for many years, and a good guy, and he took the severance package a few months ago and left. He was the one I worked with. I think he may have been, but I don't want to speak for him, but he may not have realized it was a percentage that was that high. It really surprised me, and I'll send you the chart afterwards so you can look
thank
through
you.
it. But,
okay.
What gets me too is that a lot of these carriers had more than one crash, you know, and you know, just to realize that we have that many motor carriers operating on U.S. highways, and your listeners know better than me. You and I aren't out there like they are, but they know what level of professionalism and training a lot of these drivers have, and unfortunately, these carriers that don't have a safety rating also hire drivers that are probably unqualified, and we're finding out many of them don't even speak English, and they're causing, I don't know if they're causing, but they're involved in, you know, almost all of our reportable crashes.
You
So
know,
how we rein it in, there's some thoughts out there of ways we could do it. But, you know, when you consider that we've seen such an exponential increase in the number of new DOT numbers that have been issued just since 2021. I think we've seen like a 38% increase in the number of new DOT entrants. You know, none of those have undergone a audit or a safety rating, and they're out here operating on the highways, and nobody really seems to understand why we've seen such an increase.
And by the way, this is one of those interesting moments, and like I said, I love asking questions I don't know the answer to. I'm not an attorney, so I don't basically I don't have to run that risk. I actually like finding out stuff I don't know. I've always kind of wondered, people call for this new rule or this new reg or this new thing or that, when in fact they turn around and find out that the new rule or regulation they're advocating for actually exists on paper. And the thing I'm wondering about, is this simply a matter of enforcement and diligence? Could a lot of the problems that we're looking at here simply be solved by the people who are at the FMCSA doing their jobs and focusing in on very practical, enforceable issues and taking care of business that way?
Well, we'd like to think so. I mean, they have a pretty good sized budget.
Yeah, I mean that's
and,
yeah. I mean, am I making sense here? I mean, or I'm just, you know, I mean, that always seems to me to be the problem here, is that we're not doing the very thing that FMCSA should be doing, which is running these people off the lot, you know, and getting them out of the game, right?
I totally agree. And Dave, you probably know Daryl Prax. He's a person who's been doing some work on DOT filings and DOT numbers, and I believe it was him who revealed that he found some 300 or so DOT numbers that had been issued to one address, and the address wasn't a trucking company.
Oh, yeah, that's a whole nother ball of wax.
That's a whole area that may have some linkage to this. You know, it may have some linkage to why we're seeing such an increase in all of these new CDLs that have been issued in the last 2 years. When we really don't have the capacity in our training schools to generate that many. We've seen a marked increase in Florida and Texas. Anybody's guess. We know now that if you want a DOT number, you have to apply for one online, and you have to provide an insurance certificate. We don't even know if those insurance certificates are valid, or maybe they're even being floated, you know, through several different DOT applications, because there doesn't seem to be any kind of a cross-check reference going on at FMCSA on this.
David, wow.
I'm not kidding right now. We both looked up to go talk, looked at each other, and had these looks on our faces like, are you flipping kidding me, Lane? I mean, this is like, and it just feels like the best way for them to do their jobs here is to do their jobs here. I mean, I don't know. I mean, well, go ahead.
You made the point. You made the point when you said, hey, sometimes we're looking for new rules and regulations when, in fact, we have them on paper right now if we'd simply enforce them.
Is there a technology crunch here in the in DOT? Let's branch it out. In other words, did they just not have the technology they need to keep track of these numbers and these applicants?
Are they spending their budgets wrong? Is somebody getting a vacation to Tahoe that we're not aware of? I'm being funny, but is this simply the misallocations of funds and resources and emphasis of what's happening here? I mean, do you have any sense of this?
No, just opinions. I am encouraged. I will say this: I am encouraged by the new appointees at FMCSA, the new chief counsel at FMCSA, and the person who's been nominated to be the administrator. I feel like I've met with the chief counsel, and he, without saying too much, obviously is I think in a mood to try and make things more efficient within the agency. And I think Derek Bars, as a new administrator, has a background in law enforcement and in commercial truck safety compliance that should be really beneficial. But answering your question, it's like state agencies, federal agencies. They're indispensable, but sometimes we wish we could get more production out of them.
Lane, we have to let you go because we've run a rapid fire here. Please promise us you'll come back and we'll keep this conversation going because there's a lot more to unpack. We really appreciate you managing to get yourself in here. Go have the best of days. Okay, my friend?
Sounds great. Thanks.
Thank you, man. TruckingAlliance.org. You can find them on the Book of Face of the Trucking Alliance and Truck Alliance on Twitter.com, now known as X, and of course on LinkedIn at The Trucking Alliance.